Today's video is not for the faint of heart. We're going to be looking at aggressive saving and debt repayment plans, which a lot of people cannot do or choose not to do. But we're going to go ahead and break it down anyways, guys. Now, when it comes to the aggressive plans, this means you are going to be beans and rice, which is of course a metaphor used by Dave Ramsey to really get it kind of on fire. If you've seen the FIRE movement, to knock out not only a savings plan, you could use this in conjunction with, but also a debt repayment plan to actually knock out the debt. So what exactly is this? It is a blueprint, guys. You are systematically going to save a sizable amount of your income, typically over a very short amount of time, which makes the aggressive nature of this plan. Like I said, with debt repayment, you can do this to knock it out. It means the bare bones, guys. You're looking at the minimum of cutting everything that you can within the budget, making sure that you're saving or making sure that you are debt repayment. Now, what we're talking about here is 20, 30, 40, even up to 50% of your income. Go ahead and putting it on a lot of different places and really turning up the intensity. So why can it be so beneficial? It really creates discipline, guys. When you realize what you actually need between your needs and your wants, what you can actually do aggressively, it makes a really big difference. If you're saving for a small goal or a large goal, if you're starting to get the habits you want to retire in a certain age, if you have that target, if you have that blueprint, that is what you're going to be shooting towards. And it makes it very easy to live on less than what you bring home, and also avoiding debt. This is the big one, guys. If you have debt, paying it off like rapid fire is kind of crazy, but the real big priority comes from the needs and the wants. What exactly can you do? And you'll be amazed that even for a majority of people that live paycheck to paycheck, an unexpected expense will come up and somehow magically they get the money and it works out incredibly well for a lot of people. When they're strapped with resources, when they really don't have a choice to do things, the natural mechanism and the survivability aspect can take over to get this done. The tips for building the aggressive savings plan or the debt repayment plan: number one, paying yourself first. This, guys, is a priority. So if you're looking to save, let's say for instance, 20% of your salary, setting aside the 20% upfront is going to be key. That means whatever you bring home, whatever that take home is after the 20% that you already set aside, that is what you have to budget to. Again, for the faint of heart, this is not going to work, but for the aggressive people that actually want to get it done and want to get it done within a short amount of time, this is going to work perfectly, guys. Now, contributions can go to a couple different places. High yield savings is the one that I really do look for, or using the debt snowball method. And again, you're going to do it like it's on fire. If you put 20% right off the bat, let's say towards a high credit card, you're going to systematically knock that out paycheck to paycheck faster and faster, as long as you are not going ahead and reaccumulating that debt. You want to make sure, guys, that you're not putting away too much money, but you want to make it aggressive enough that it is going to make a dent and really have an impact, not only on your financial situation, whether it is savings or it is debt repayment, but you also want to make sure that it has a financial impact on yourself, guys. There should be a feeling of the necessity. There should be a feeling of the aggressiveness that you are tackling this debt. And you will see that after a couple of paychecks, when you're actually making a dent in that credit card debt, that it is really, really different, guys. Now, using the direct deposit or the automatic pays are the way that we're going to get this done. We don't want you to have exposure to the money or, it going in the checking or passing through an account. We want to make sure that it is going right onto the debt. Number two, getting right out of debt. This is it, guys. When you finally hit the point, and I hit this actually a couple years ago, where you don't want to pay the debt, the way that you look at it, guys, add up everything that you have that you're paying on a monthly basis, break it just into the interest only portion. When you look at credit cards, when you look at student loans, when you look at the amount that you're paying, not only in your payment, but the portion of that payment that is going to interest. Guys, for a lot of people, it can be just disheartening. It can make you sick. It can make you physically ill thinking about it. And that's the time, guys, when you have to get the courage, when you have to take accountability, knock it out with with some intensity and with some aggression and get it done, guys. When you look at even taking a bunch of high interest credit cards, putting them into a debt consolidation at a lower rate, and then just knocking it out and killing it paycheck after paycheck after paycheck. And of course, this isn't going to go on forever. You're not going to use an aggressive savings or an aggressive debt repayment program for the next 5 to 10 years, depending on what you want to do. It can be short term till that debt is gone. Then you can back off a little bit once you've kind of created that little gap and you have more money, and you'll realize as soon as you get that snowball rolling that it is going to knock out debt faster and faster and faster as you're rolling those payments down. Number three, budgeting, tracking all of your spending. You need to know, write it down every single time where every dollar is going, guys. If you put away 30% of your income up front, you have, $1,500 left. You have to make it work with what you got. You have to know exactly where every dollar goes. And that might mean cutting out a lot of things, and it might be short term. So it could be, not going out to eat. It could be, living on beans and rice. And again, that is a metaphorical meaning. But it could be, skipping the movie, skipping the date night, skipping any of the expenditures because you want to knock this out. And again, it's really about prioritizing the things you want in your life. And what is the long-term, the future you really going to say? When you look at 3 to 5 years, let's say you could knock out all of your debt, excluding your mortgage, in the next 2 years. After that, guys, you're going to have room to breathe. You're going to have your paycheck. You're going to have your income, which is going to be huge. So for our budgeting method in this one, we are using the zero-based budgeting. That is right, guys. We are going to make use of every single dollar. Now, this is the budgeting method that I recommend. This is the budgeting method that I personally use. Now, it doesn't mean going down to absolutely zero in your bank account. It just means that every dollar that you have is going to have a purpose, and you know exactly what it is going to be used for. For me personally, I'll take my checking account down to $100. That is what I keep kind of as my little cushion in there. Now, I do have an emergency fund on the side, but every single dollar above that $100 that I do have left in the paycheck goes into an investment account. I do this on a cycle. If you checked out the videos, we're putting $1,000 in an investment account every single week. And we're going to try to do it for a year, which means $52,000 in a savings account. So how do I achieve this, guys? Between my regular job and also the YouTube income that I get from the AdSense, sponsorships, things of that nature, any of the super chats, buy me a coffee, couple different things. Anything that we get goes right back into that budgeting or that savings account, the investment account that I have at that $1,000. And we are trying to essentially keep up the pace. And I've done this by a lot of different ways, guys. Number one, cutting out expenses, not stopping at the gas station, not going out to eat. We are packing our own lunches for, my wife and I and the kids, really cutting corners wherever we can, saving wherever we can. On Facebook Marketplace, selling a bunch of stuff that has been around for a while, getting a cash flow that is actually going from stuff that we had in the purchase we had before, with kids in the budget, selling things you don't need, guys. It's really easy with Marketplace and a lot of other places to get rid of a lot of things, again, that you do not need. Now, cutting down the expenses, cutting down on transportation costs, looking at something and really going on the no spend. You could move to a cheaper area. You could downgrade your car. There's a lot of ways to stop spending money. And again, you have to think, okay, you have to eat. But now, is that a case where you're going out to eat for $15 or $20? Or could you go out to eat or go to go to Kroger, go to wherever your local shopping mart is and buy something for $2 or $3 that would sustain you? And again, this is going to be an aggressive plan, guys. That's why I said a lot of people, it's not going to be a fit for. Now, if you're looking at the saving aspects, high yield savings accounts are literally on fire right now. Most of them are paying around 5% if you have a high yield savings account. If you're socking away money, guys, this is a perfect place to put it. I have a link down below for M1 Finance. That is where I have my high yield savings account at that I am putting money into. Now, as the Fed going into next year is going to start reducing rates, most of those are going to be gone, guys, or going to be reduced with the rate that they're paying. So you might not be able to find that 5% much longer. Now, of course, one of the big things, guys, if you're looking either savings or that debt repayment, starting a side hustle. Over 40% of Americans have a side hustle, whether it is deliveries. We see deliveries, we see YouTube, we see social media, online, picking up extra shifts, overtime, a second job. There are so many things that people can do now to create wealth and really create income that can support or even supplement or even replace at some point the income that you have from a primary job. Now, this, of course, you have to get some experience, but there's so many things you can do, guys. Literally, if you go to Google and you say, the top 100 side hustles in the United States that I can do online, that I can do from home, it will spit you out an entire list, guys. You just have to have the determination and have to have really the ability and the time and effort to do it and make sure you get it done. Number 8, we look at avoiding eating out at restaurants. This is a huge one, guys. Americans spend, it says, right about $3,000 to $5,000 a year on eating out. That doesn't include anything that you're making at home. That is just takeout meals, meals with friends, going out to eat with family, which is kind of crazy to think how much money that people do spend when they go out. Now, saving money and the debt repayment, you can look for tax refunds, you can look for rebates, bonuses, cashback, any financial gifts, birthday money, wedding money, inheritance, anything that you have, you can literally throw into that savings account, or it can go tenfold right onto that debt repayment, going ahead and knocking that out. Now, with the money, guys, if you're saving, I really encourage investing the money depending on what your financial goals are. When you start getting into compounding interest, when you start looking at ETFs, which is exactly what I invest in, with the crazy market that we've seen today, the portfolio's up almost 40%, which is kind of insane. Even this year, I think we're at about 24-25% for this year alone. So literally, if you're dumping money into an investment account, which I highly recommend, especially knowing what 24 and 25 is going to bring, it's going to be interesting to see. Now, of course, with that, automating your finances. Automation is huge, guys. Putting money into, again, a savings account, putting money into a debt repayment account, you have to knock it out, and you have to knock it out automatically. Makes it a big difference, guys. When the money's not going to the checking account, then you have a choice with how much, and you can kind of negotiate or even talk yourself out of exactly how much you're going to save. But if it is automatic, if it's going to your financial account, if it's going to your investment account, it is turned on automatic, and you can turn up the intensity in there, guys, and put more money into it. Now, the 30-day rule is one that I like to look at. This is really spending money. If there is an unplanned purchase or something that you need to replace, you have to wait 30 days. Get your calendar, get your reminder, get your phone. 30-day rule is intact. If you're trying to make any larger purchases or an unplanned purchase, you're going to check yourself for 30 days. After 30 days, if you still do need the item, go ahead and purchase it. This removes the impulse spending, which we know $2,000 to $3,000 a year is the average for impulse spending. This is just crap we don't need. And again, looking at the movement, looking at the aggression, you're going to knock it out, guys, because you are looking to put that $3,000 even into a savings account or into that debt repayment. And the final one I leave you with is living below your means. When you get a paycheck, when you look at what money is going out, you have to be below your means, and you want to be and really cut that number as significantly as possible to get below your means. Again, this might be cutting out a lot of things. Could be, cutting back on a cell phone plan, looking at your subscriptions, cutting out cable. We save $180 a month just because we got rid of cable. We kept the internet, but the cable is completely gone. Guys, that's $180 a month. When you start looking at a year, when you look at, it was about 4 or 5 years ago we cut that out. That is an exponential savings. You take that $180 a month, you're throwing it into a savings account. It is going to make a game-changing difference when you get a couple years down the road. Compounding with everything else that we're putting into the account, we are on fire, guys. I'm trying to save $52,000 a year in a savings account, in the investment account, making sure that we're putting $1,000. We are already, this week will be $6,000 in of the 52 goal. I want to see how close we can get, or if we can get to that goal or exceed that goal within the next 12 months. And again, we're cutting back on everything to make it happen. Really want to retire within the next 6 years now. So it is pretty close when it comes to the retirement age of 50 years old, but ensuring that we have enough between the 50 till probably the 65 Social Security age. So 15 years, we're going to have to support it with the side hustle, but we're going to have to see exactly what that looks like. So let me know, guys, if you're looking at the aggressive savings plan, if you're looking at a super aggressive debt repayment plan, and I'll catch you in the next video.